Hello, fellow Murdlers. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024, and it's a great day to solve a murder. Today we have murder at the Old English Village, and we have three 3x3 grids with suspects' locations and weapons. It's Wednesday, so we have statements today, 3 statements, 1 for each of our suspects, and we know that 2 of these must be true and 1 of these must be a lie. Whomever is lying is our murderer today, and that's how we'll crack the case. Alright, let's go ahead and meet today's suspects. We have Chef Aubergine, Lord Lavender, and Signor Emerald. The weapons today are a pair of gardening shears, a knitting needle, and yarn. And our locations today are the chapel, the quaint garden, and the ancient ruins. Alright, let's check out our 2 pieces of clues and evidence. Whoever was in the chapel was left-handed, so we're looking for a left-handed suspect. Chef Aubergine is right-handed, as is Lord Lavender, and Signor Emerald is left-handed, so Signor Emerald must have been in the chapel. Yarn was not found in the quaint garden, so we can see the yarn was not in the quaint garden. And that's it for our clues and evidence, so let's go ahead and hit save and dive into our witness statements. Alright, Chef Aubergine says a pair of gardening shears was by the ancient ruins. We really don't have any information about the gardening shears yet, so we'll have to kind of go past that for now. Chef Aubergine brought a knitting needle. Similarly, we really don't have any information about Chef Aubergine's weapon or the knitting needle, so that also needs to get skipped. And Lord Lavender was by the ancient ruins. Now, this is connected to this one here, where if the gardening shears is true and this is also true, then that means Lord Lavender has the gardening shears. But other than that, we don't know anything about Lord Lavender's location, other than it was not the chapel. And we don't know anything about Lord Lavender's weapon, so we can't connect it back to the gardening shears there. So I think for now, we are stuck just going line by line. So let's try that out. Let's take the inverse of Chef Aubergine's statement. So that would be that a pair of gardening shears was not by the ancient ruins. And then these 2 must be true if we've made this one the lie. So let's try this out. Chef Aubergine brought a knitting needle. So we'll put that in there. And Lord Lavender was by the ancient ruins. Okay. And since we can place now from process of elimination, Chef Aubergine in the quaint garden and Lord Lavender in the ancient ruins, or by the ancient ruins. So that would mean Lord Lavender did not have the gardening shears because those were not at the ancient ruins if we're taking Chef Aubergine's statement as a lie. So that means Lord Lavender must have had the yarn and Signor Emerald must have had the gardening shears at the chapel. This looks like it's working out. I think this might be our solution. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and say Chef Aubergine with a knitting needle in the quaint garden. And let's go ahead and flip these over. But before we see if we're right, I'm just going to take a moment and go through the other 2 just to make sure we didn't miss something there. So let's kind of say this is true and let's make this one false. So we'll say the gardening shears were by the ancient ruins. And let's say this is false. So Chef Aubergine did not have a knitting needle. Let's see, this does place the knitting needle in the quaint garden and puts the yarn at the chapel, so we can do that for Signor Emerald. So that would give Lord Lavender the knitting needle. And put Lord Lavender in the quaint garden. But that won't work because that leaves Chef Aubergine to the ancient ruins, but Signor Emerald says Lord Lavender was by the ancient ruins, so that's not going to work. And so let's just finish this out with this one real quickly. Lord Lavender was by the ancient ruins, so we'll take the inverse of that. So we'll say Lord Lavender was not at the ancient ruins, which puts him in the quaint garden and puts Chef Aubergine by the ancient ruins. So that is the lie, so these 2 must be true. And that's actually where that falls apart, because if the gardening shears were by the ancient ruins, which is now Chef Aubergine's location, this creates a second lie with this one where Chef Aubergine brought a knitting needle. So that won't work. So let's just reset that. I'm going to fill out the grid for this one here. The gardening shears by the ancient ruins being the lie. So there's everything all filled out. And again, we have Chef Aubergine with the knitting needle in the quaint garden. Let's go ahead and see if we were right. All right, we were right. Thanks so much for playing along with me today. I hope this was a helpful walkthrough, and we'll see you tomorrow.